Hey guys, welcome back to another video update on the Blade GT1. Just wanted to give you guys a kind of overview of what we've been doing over the past few months to the car. I know it's been a while since I've done an update. It's kind of my thing now. I really like to do them more often, but it's just been crazy with all the past holidays and just, you know, some business stuff and work stuff and just stuff. So it's just been crazy, and I just can't get to all the video making and editing that I would like to do, but hopefully that'll change pretty soon. So you know, I'd like to get into it more. It's just been kind of crazy. So anyway, so we've done some work on the car, and the last time I think you guys saw it, everything was I think I was covering the hood and how we basically split the car in half and added some width to the hood area, or to the whole front end actually, and widened the whole track width of the car. So for performance reasons or handling reasons, we wanted to widen the front track width. We during our kind of testing out on the track, realized that the front track of the car was a little more narrow than we would have liked it to be, but just kind of because of the previous SEMA adventure. We were kind of pressed for time, and so didn't have time to address that issue back then, but it was something I always wanted to get around to doing, and now the car's track width has been increased, and the bodywork is now being increased to match the new chassis configuration. So what we see behind me is some new fender work that we've been working on. So part of widening the hood also came with the need to redesign the fenders and to start working on some of the fender design stuff. So I'm going to turn this phone around. I'm on my phone, so sorry if it's a little weird and shaky, but as you know, you guys may have seen in some of the pictures. My light's on. We've redesigned the car quite a bit. We've widened the front end, so you can see how the front end here is a little bit wider, and you can see this is the area that we widened on the car. So it's a little chunky and messy right now, and that's all going to be like smoothed over, and we're going to reshape the whole curvature and kind of shape of the top part of this hood. So mostly all the fiberglass work that we're doing is kind of structural at the moment to keep everything in its place, and to give us a surface to build up on, and for our mold process later down the road. So this is kind of, the whole car is becoming a body buck again. And although we got like a whole car underneath here, it's really going to be a buck for remolding again and making new lighter weight body panels out of like carbon fiber and other stuff. So what we did is we widened the car. So we cut the car in half. We widened it up a little bit. We didn't adjust the fender. So there's a previous design that I did where I did all the width adjustment in the fender side, but it made it look a little too like, Gumpert. If you guys are familiar with the Apollo Gumpert supercar, it's got real crazy, wacky, shape to it, and weird fenders, and everything's just crazy. But it's a super aerodynamic car, and it's totally function and all that. But so I get it, but that's not what I wanted. So I like some style too. So what we're working on now is this new fender design. So the big key aspect here is to reshape this fender opening for a bigger wheel and tire combination. So the original one was done with the idea of using an 18-inch wheel and tire combination, mainly for race purposes, and it was kind of a small car, so we wanted to keep it in that range. But once we got the car actually developed, we realized quickly that we really needed to accommodate everything up to like possibly a 20-inch wheel. And so we've made this change by opening up this fender area a little bit to perfectly set like a 19-inch wheel and tire combination. So that's really the perfect combination, although you could put a 20 if you wanted to, but it's really meant for 19. So then the next thing is we've added you know, this opening here, you know, so this is, you know, your pressure release, you know, from trapped up crazy turbulent air that's coming in and being pushed into the front, cooling off the brakes, and then having an escape route out the back. Then we have our vents here, which are for venting the hood, under the hood heat and turbo heat and things like that. And then on this particular setup on the new GT1, we're doing the front side exiting exhaust. So hopefully all that's kind of in focus. I'm not really sure what the camera's doing here. And then we've basically added an extra 2 inches of drop to the body down here too as well. So there's a lot of changes being done, and we're kind of at that stage now where we're laying up the fenders, and we are starting this area now. So so let me show you a little bit of what we've got going on, and give you guys an overview of what we've been doing. So this is kind of like the first preliminary I guess creation of the new fender. But what we did first is we basically got this whole car in its little magical box. So there's this box, you can see a line right here. It's just a string, but it's set up on this perfectly square box. We basically take all of our measurements off of this little magical box that goes around the car, and you can kind of see part of it over there and part of it there, and then we have this line that splits this wheel form. So this is a wheel form that we made to accommodate the larger wheel opening, and then all of that has a center line that then goes all the way to the other side of the car over there, and then on that side of the car we have everything squared off with another line, and then there's a center line that goes down the center of the car. And I don't know if you can really, so we have another, so we have this line that comes here, and then a line that's going this way, then there's a center line that's going down the center of the car, and then there's one over there, but it's under paper. And then all of that we have like tools that we've made that come up and they stand up next to the car and allow us to touch points on the car to make sure that everything is like symmetrical and aligned, and everything matches the other side. So that's a big thing that I'm really focused on this time around, is making sure that the symmetry, the fitment, everything is going to be as perfect as possible, compared to the previous XTR car that's over there. So yeah, so that's kind of what we did. So the first thing was we widened the hood, and then we created these fenders, and I will take this off. So we've been using these little Clecos, which these are pretty cool. So these actually go in, and we can hold them. So these are pretty cool. So you use this little tool. Oh, darn it! I can just keep it there. All right. So I have this little Cleco thing, and as you squeeze it, it kind of pops out. I don't know if it's really focusing on that, but see how that's working. So what you do is you squeeze it, you stick it in the hole, and you let go of it, and then it's like a rivet. So now it's in there, it holds everything, and it basically does the same thing as like a rivet does, but it's reusable, and it's really good for holding panels together, especially if you have like metal panels and you need to spot weld pieces together and stuff like that. So what we have here is the a piece that we've already formed, and we've already got it in fiberglass, and it's basically just sitting on top of the other body that has a different shape fender on it. So when we cut the hood, it also made the hood wider, so we had to cut this side piece so that it stayed where it was, but the fender widened a little bit on this side, or quite a bit, and then we ended up with this gap here, right? So we have this big hole that we had to cut out, and that's what this does. So this merges the gap and makes everything transition the way that it needs to transition. So now we have this nice flow. The next thing that I wanted to do was the overall design of the car kind of has like this concaved, I guess, shape to it. So everything is like, it's got like a scoopy shape. Well, the fenders, the previous fenders, go outward like that, which, you know, looked okay, but I really wanted to make it kind of have a matching slope to it, and so it does, and it adds a little bit more aggression to it without actually widening any more of the fender area. So I didn't want to add all that width here, like I was saying, like the Gumpert has, you know. And that's, you'll actually see it, like I have a previous design up on Instagram where you can see where I did do that in the actual CAD to see what it looked like. And after, you know, mocking it up in, you know, real life, we quickly realized that that was not the direction we wanted to go into. So what I wanted to cover in this video, which is getting to be a long video, so just hang in there, guys. I don't do videos that often, so I want to make sure that this one is a good video on kind of the process of what we did to achieve this fender, because it's not something that I've seen anybody else do on YouTube. It is, you know, a lot of people out there are making like Liberty Walk fenders and they're doing all these fender stuff, and so I thought, well, maybe this could be a technique that, you know, people could use to create their own fender setup, because I've seen some crazy stuff that people are doing that just seems like overly complicated, and it kind of ends up with kind of a, you know, non-symmetrical, gnarly looking setup that's not in a good way. So so what we did here is we actually ended up laying spandex over all of this, and it's kind of like an old speaker box trick, you know, for people who do custom speaker boxes would be familiar with using like fabric or stretchy fabric or spandex or something like that. And so I used to do that a long time ago, and so that's kind of technique that I use to do this. And so I created these forms to be the exact size we needed for the wheels and tire combination, and then also the kind of realign all of our center lines for the wheel openings, and then I want, you know, change the angle of the actual arch on the fender, and then we did the same thing on the back, and it's all held together by those clecos. And these sides are already cleaned up and are ready to bond to the body. And then after that, we'll do a ton of body work to these and blend everything in. We still have our big giant holes to make on the air outlet on the fender here, and then we still have this side valance to create. And so that's kind of the next stage here, is once we get this other side done, then we'll start with this. And so that's why I want to do this video, is show you the stages, because I actually have all four fenders in kind of various stages right now. So these two fenders are mostly done. Then we'll come over here and I'll show you. Let's see. So, oh, I have all the fiberglass. So, all right. So anyway, now I got a mess there. But anyway, so what you see here is the actual spandex, and we just bought black spandex from, you know, fabric store. And so it's like, you know, just go in, they're gonna look at you strange, buy a bunch of spandex, you know, don't hang around very long and get out of there quickly. But what we did is, you know, we basically used hot glue right here and just, you know, put spots around the edges of everything. Started kind of in the middle, and we pressed the spandex down, and then we pulled it, and it just kind of went in stages, and worked our way, you know, on down each side, pulling it. We did it several times to get the technique down the right way, so that we ended up with a symmetrical shape on both sides. And crazy enough, you know, as it sounds, it really did come out extremely symmetrical. Like, we took a tool from one fender and you know, basically measured all the distances and the lines here and the depth here, and did all this stuff, and then did it on the other side, and it was like exact. I mean, it's crazy how much more symmetrical, and the symmetry and the fit and finish of this setup is going to be compared to what it was before. So once we get the spandex, you know, laid over and stretched out to get the right, you know, shape that we need, then basically we take fiberglass resin, we mix it up into a little pot or a little whatever, little port measuring thing. And then we just coat it with that. And then after it sets up, it hardens and it creates this hard spandex shell. And so this now gives us a surface to lay our fiberglass on and to create a much stronger shell and actually work in the fiberglass really well without any air bubbles or anything like that. And then allow us, which is the important part, to actually remove everything. So we're not actually fixing anything onto the body, the current body. Everything is removable, like I showed you on the other fender over there, where I could just take it off. So the key component to that is this silver tape. So you guys, if you've been following my videos, have seen lots of this silver tape. So what we did underneath the spandex before we started is we pretty much coated this whole fender with the silver tape, then hot glued on top of that, stretched our spandex down, put the silver tape on our forms, and that allows the spandex piece to come off. Although we don't take it off at this stage at all. We then come back after this has hardened with the resin that we apply on it. We then layer more of the silver tape, then we wax it, and then remove the wax just like you would on a car with just some regular carnauba wax. And then at that stage, this is all silver with the tape, and that's just like AC duct tape, but it's like the aluminum duct tape, not the normal duct tape stuff. So then we then at that point we then apply the fiberglass mat. And that's what I was having up here because I was showing somebody that. And so we'll then put big sheets of this on, like I have a big roll behind me, but and we'll save all our little scraps to get in the corners and all that. And we'll do 3 layers. And so this is 2 ounce mat, 3 layers. You have about six ounces of fiberglass mat, which makes for a pretty strong shell that you'll end up with after all this is done. So so that's kind of the last stage. Once you put the fiberglass down and you put the resin and you cure it and all that, then you end up with this over here, which is real messy. So this is, you can see the silver tape underneath it. Actually, where it says 3M, that's actually the silver tape because you can see through the fiberglass. It's semi-translucent. Excuse me. So this is where we've already put the fiberglass on it. It is hard as a rock, and it will be able to be pulled off. And so basically, since we've waxed this piece, all we do is kind of stick a couple of little knives or little pry tools or whatever and just start working it off, and then it pops off like that fender over there. And then we trim it to a certain way, and just to basically be able to blend back into the car. There's really no real method to the trimming part of it, except for on the lip, because I want a certain width on this lip piece here. And so I have it trimmed on that side, but it's not to the exact point that I want it. So I'm kind of leaving some excess on there to work with. And then this is kind of what you have, kind of a big mess that has to be trimmed up once it comes off. And so you can actually see here, you can see the spandex is right there, and then you got the silver tape underneath it, and then we have the fiberglass on top. And so it's kind of, sorry, I'm pointing the camera there. So then this just comes off pretty easily, and we just kind of filled it over the lights and everything, because it ends up getting cut off, and this is what you end up having is like a little skin that we then will blend into the car. So that's kind of the process that we've been going through, and it's been kind of crazy over the past few months, dealing with the weather and the time constraints with the holidays and all that. And turn this around. Okay, so yeah, so that's the stuff that we've been dealing with. The fender has been kind of a trial and error little situation. So, but we've had to do it, a few times to really get it down right to where, like I said earlier, the symmetry is real important. So there's actually, a certain way you need to pull on the spandex so that it stretches the same amount. And when you do get the spandex, a good tip, if you use it for a project like this, or even a speaker box or whatever, get a bunch of it so that you don't have to go get more of it later. Because what happened to me, I went to go get more and they had a different type. So although it was the same percentages of fabric mixtures in it, the way that stretch was different and the texture was different. So that was something that we kind of found out later. But luckily I had enough to go around, so it all worked out good. But and then the other thing is when you're getting fabric, you need to make sure that it is like 95% cotton. And so there's a lot of fabrics that are synthetics, and they're made up of nylons and made up of polyester, which is really bad. so don't get any polyester fabric, because as soon as you put the resin on it, the resin is made out of I don't know if it's a polyester or it's a polystyrene. But at any rate, what happens is the resin will eat it and melt it, and you'll have a big gooey fabric, and it will not work out well. So you want it to be almost 100% cotton. So what I did is I got 95% cotton and 5% spandex, which happens to be the most expensive spandex you can get. I guess because it's really comfortable or something like that. But that is, I don't know, it's weird, but it is a nice fabric, I guess. So that's kind of the update for now. And what I'll do later is I'll come back and show you guys like the valance and the other side and everything all cleaned up. And I'll try to get back on more of these videos, although I say that every time, and then 3 months later I'm doing one of these long videos again. So there you go. And I guess with all that said, you guys need to check out my Instagram page, because I do a lot of updates on there. So that's just at BXR Motors. And then all my other social media stuff is all at BXR Motors. And also Periscope. I've been doing Periscope live video feeds. Just me and Chase out here doing the actual work stuff. So that's kind of interesting and been kind of fun to do. And it's real quick and easy and all that. So try that out and check out those things. I am also starting up another business thing, which is basically a online performance shop where we're going to have our own some branded products and some special stuff that we're working with some partners with. And that's going to be at bxrperformance.com. And basically we have a turbo kit that we're going to be introducing on that site. It's not made by us or anything, but we're helping to promote it, and it's for the new 2015 and 16 Mustangs. And I have some video on my Instagram page that you guys can go check out. You can also go check out the guy who designed the system. It's twinturbomustang.net, or check out his Instagram page too. I don't think he has a site up yet, but check it out. It's a really nice setup. It's like at 5.5 psi of boost on 91 octane. Excuse me. On 91 octane, it's making like 680 horsepower at the wheels. So I think that's like 7 something at the engine. But definitely check it out. I'm real excited. I have a new 2015/16 Mustang, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I love this thing. It's like, gosh, I love this car. So, I had to get another, like some kind of fun car since the Blade has been parked. So I got myself a Mustang, but it's been great. And so I'm looking to put the same kit on my car, and I'll do a whole video series on this because we're going to do some crazy stuff with it. But that, and then just some other specialty items. Not a whole lot, mainly aimed at the Mustang and kind of the newer, 2015 and up Mustang market. Really is kind of where we're aiming for the BXR performance stuff. So just stuff like that. There may be a couple other things that we have they'll put up, but that's coming up soon. I don't know exactly when, but I'll make sure to tell everybody. So anyway, I guess that's it. I'm just doing all this all on my phone, so I hope the quality is okay, and I can't see my screen because I'm using the other side of the phone. You know, the other side gives me a 5-minute, you know, time period, and this side, which is higher resolution, gives me endless, so it's kind of crazy. Anyway, that's it, and I will see you guys the next video that I do, and I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully a lot sooner. So, no hold me to that though. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Later.